lot of years, centuries and centuries. It just keeps going. And we are making a lot of progress, so that's all I can report. But
you said that your national security advisor learned a lesson after a reporter.
Excuse me, I didn't make you. Go ahead, please. Some very, very big talks are going and detailed talks are going on right now on both fronts.
No shouting, no interruptions, just facts. Caitlin Collins didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. She calmly unraveled Donald Trump's talking points in real time, leaving the former president flustered, furious, and thoroughly shut down. It began with a question about January 6th. Collins asked Trump if he was ready to say in public and for good that he had lost the 2020 race. Donald Trump didn't use his famous claims of massive fraud, rigged voting, and millions of fake ballots, which he often does. Collins kept going, though. She made him feel bad. Those claims are not backed up by evidence. A lot of judges turned them down. The government you work for says the poll was safe.
Minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest there?
We'll take.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian forces, European forces?
The agreement will protect them.
U.S. forces?
The agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement.
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in those spots? Some people may wonder why.
They ought to focus on CNN, on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions.
Why do you have confidence that Putin won't violate a deal?
Focus on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings. I don't think they're going to survive.
Are you ready to tell your friends the truth tonight? It was clear that Trump was mad. He opened his mouth to talk, but Collins spoke up instead. Mr. Trump, this isn't a campaign event. This site is based on facts and is shown on TV. The room moved, the laughs stopped. People in the crowd looked at each other as if they didn't know what to do. Collins was in charge. The ex-president tried to get her back by calling her rude and nasty. Collins went there with receipts that had direct quotes from Trump's former employees, court decisions, affidavits from the DOJ, and audio recordings. She asked him everything, even about his private papers and his views against Ukraine. He had said something famous about touching women, so she asked, "Do you still think that's just locker room talk?" Trump looked shocked. He looked at Joe Biden and tried to act like he was being persecuted for his political views while laughing strainedly. Collins didn't say anything. This is not a test for you. What you say does matter, though. It's also still open for you to answer the question.
The president fired last night 2 members of the FTC, the Democratic members of that. It raised questions about whether or not he does respect the independence of the Fed or he thinks that they are fair game as well. What is the president's view on that?
I think that's been resolved in the previous administration. You can go back and find a clip where I talked about it right in the space. We very much respect the independence of the Fed, and there's a massive literature that independent central banks perform better for economies, and so I don't think that's a dispute.
So he doesn't think he can fire the Fed chair?
The crowd went silent in shock as Trump leaned back in his chair, clearly angry. It got crazy on social media. Lots of people watched parts of the talk before it was over. The most used term on Twitter very quickly was Trump shut down. People said Collins' calm demeanor and never-ending research were the kind of journalism America needs. Collins made the most of the situation, even though some CNN critics asked why the network gave Trump such a big stage. Backstage, Trump's team tried to play down the damage. Reports say that organizers were told by staff to cut the show short. Even though there were talks about shortening the Q&A, Collins stuck to his guns. She then talked about Trump's present legal problems, like the investigations that are still going on into hush money payments and obstruction. Collins responded by giving facts about times, witnesses, and dates that showed Trump was wrong when he said it was a witch hunt. Her words were, "You said under oath that you didn't know about the payment." But this SMS message means something different.
I think he'd like to see something happen. I think it could have happened a long time ago. I think Biden, number one, it shouldn't have started, but it did. And now all those cities are knocked down. A lot of soldiers, but you lost millions of people. When they knocked down those cities and they're all laying down on the side, they're lying down just in ashes and all crumbled up concrete. And this should have been done by Biden years ago. This should have never been allowed to happen. I know he's a friend of yours.
But couldn't Putin just withdraw his
He's a friend of
today?
CNN. That's why nobody watches CNN anymore, because they have no credibility.
Does your word still stand? Trump tripped When he tried to reject the message as false, he was told right away that forensic experts had already proven it to be true. There were no cheers from the crowd. Truth, not politics, was being used to challenge Trump, which was something out of the usual. Collins moved on to Trump's record on COVID-19 and vaccines, using both Trump and his critics to back her up. His contradictory comments in the early stages of the pandemic were caught on old tape. He told her, "You said it would go away in 2 weeks. 1 million people in the U.S. died. Do you feel bad that you played it down?" Trump tried to change the subject. "I have stopped travel from China," was the first thing he said. Collins stopped him when he said, after the virus was already spreading in the U.S. Trump called her rude again. It didn't work, though. It didn't surprise her. She went about her business in a planned way. Reporters who have been covering Trump for a long time said he seemed really crazy. He had never faced this much opposition on live TV, especially from a network that had been accused of soft-pedaling him in the past. The crowd could tell there was a change. To Trump, it was more than just a test. He wasn't able to get the group going, change direction, or use his usual strategies. Trump's mood changed near the end of the chat. He was mean and cold, clearly out of sorts. He ran off stage without saying thank you to the announcer. Caitlin Collins, on the other hand, didn't react. Before ending the concert, she quickly thanked the crowd and said that what had just happened was very important. In the hours that followed, reactions from people of all party stripes came pouring in. People on the center and the left called it a public service, but people on the right said Collins was badgering Trump. Democrats liked Collins' work because they said she held Trump responsible in a way that not many journalists had. Overnight, editorials began to appear hailing the event as a turning point for CNN and maybe even for future coverage of Trump by the media. As we all knew would happen, Trump didn't keep quiet for long. In several tweets, he said that Collins was a radical leftist, the event was rigged, and CNN was trying to trap him. But the damage had already been done. People in the crowd had seen it happen. Do not change, not a spin. Trump is the only one who is having a hard time with all of his responsibilities. Reports say that CNN management was surprised by how the public responded. The town hall meeting had a huge turnout, and videos from the interview were all over YouTube and TikTok. The event made Caitlin Collins' status as a well-known political reporter even stronger. It was yet another sign to Trump of how the media is changing. Instead of the cheers he was expecting, there was a strange silence. He thought things were getting out of hand. The main goal wasn't to get rid of the leftists or make the media upset. The facts were not agreed upon. These facts weren't yelled over or ignored for once. They were given quietly, straight out, and without saying sorry. Just those few words were enough to shut down Trump on his own terms, live and in front of the cameras.